Blessed be our new founding fathers. Blessed be our new founding fathers.
What's up, family? Trey Reed was a 21-year-old student at Delta State University who was found hanging near campus on September 15th, and authorities were quick to call it a suicide. In fact, they were super quick to call it a suicide. But many, including community activists, believe there's much more to the story. And today, we're joined by National Chair of the new Black Panther Party, Krystal to dig into the questions that demand answers. Krystal.
Yes, sir.
What have you personally seen or uncovered that makes you certain that this was a suicide?
Okay. Well, first of all, I have common God-given sense. That's the first thing, to know that on the heels of all of these threats of attacks on HBUs that just festered the media, social media, in the heels of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We were already on high alert as it related to HBCUs. Although Delta State University is not an SBCU, it is in Mississippi, and it is situated only a few miles away from Money, Mississippi, where Emmett Till was murdered and gruesomely beaten and very horrifically murdered. So with that, once we knew when this took place, this young man was found hung, lynched on Monday at the campus, hanging from a tree. Now, unfortunately, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigations and the police departments of Mississippi, from my actual fact and knowledge and the cases that the New Black Panther Party has been dealing with in Mississippi for the last 10 years to be exact now, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation only comes in and pretty much comes in to cover up these lynchings that have been taking place. There have been serial lynchings taking place in Mississippi, all across Mississippi, that we have actually documented, met with the families, and out of all these cases, that's the first thing within the day of, hours of, the police modus operandi is to say suicide. Now, I will tell you this. I have the unfortunate personal experience to have lost my son the year before last. In Harris County, with all of its technical advances, it took them 4 months to give me the cause of death on my son. But miraculously, they want us to think that Mississippi, with budgets pennies compared to major cities can all of a sudden have police officers go out to a scene and within hours mind you,
cracks up.
say it's a suicide. Now, I sent you, Willie, pictures, documents of previous cases that we had to deal with involving lynching where there were cover-ups. We have the facts. We can show you the patterns. But let me focus here on the unfortunate lynching of Trey Reed. Now I know, and you let me know if I'm breaking in Utah protocol, but from just using straight words of what this is, or someone being hung from a tree, we know that this is lynching. 100 years ago, Ida B. Wells was having to deal with the same things that we're dealing with, and nothing much has changed. The benefit that we have today is we don't have to rely on mainstream media. The benefit that we have today is that we have independent journalists such as yourself and the other brave brothers and sisters and others that have been putting the truth out as it relates to Trey Reed. We have common sense. Now, I reached out to an activist, and I will be giving you his intel if you want me to. He works directly for the law firm of Benjamin Crump. Now, Benjamin Crump, to my understanding, is being retained by Trey's mother. In fact, we also have brothers and sisters on the ground in Mississippi, all around Mississippi, and we have been conducting independent investigations. Now, what we've gathered from intel from the legal investigators, as well as people on the ground, is that Trey had got into a physical fight on Sunday with some white boys over him, Trey, defending a black girl that was being harassed by the white boys over some debates as it related to, you guessed it,
Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
He defended a black man defending a sister. They jumped him. So we know that this man did not lynch himself.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be a defender. A young freshman, his whole life ahead of him, from Grenada, Mississippi. That's another thing, because the mainstream media, I believe, was being kind of tricky. They kept saying from Grenada, which would imply, overseas Grenada. But let's be clear, Grenada, Mississippi is where Trey was from. Trey was lynched in Cleveland, Mississippi on the 100-year centennial of Delta State University, not HBCU. 100 years. What we know, we can go on, we go 100 years into Mississippi, we're going to uncover a lot of lynchings. But what I want to make clear is that there has been a pattern of lynchings that we have dealt with and uncovered. And if you don't mind me drawing a parallel, in 2015, there was a gentleman by the name of Otis Bird, not James Bird, but Otis Bird. He had did 26 years in prison for the allegations of raping and killing a white woman. He spent 26 years denying, even after he got out of jail, he denied that he did, that he stood his ground on his innocence. He had a house, a job, and had just hit big at the casino in Mississippi. He was found hanging 15 feet in the air in the backyard of the family of the lady that he was accused of murder and already 26 years in prison for. And do you know what the police said? Even though he was hanging in the air with a bag over his head and his hands tied behind his back, They
Suicide.
immediately declared it a suicide.
Mhm.
But thank God we had black people on the ground in the community that took a picture. So we were able to see not only was he lynched and he was 15 feet in the air, it was humanly impossible for him to have a bag over his head and his hands tied behind his back and hang himself 15 feet in the air. Why would he leave his house, which we went to his house, which had plenty of trees around it, and go to the backyard of the family where he did 26 years of accusation of raping and killing this white woman? So that was the first case. We hit the ground and we ran into this entity, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, who, from what I can tell, their main purpose is to cover up racial acts of violence. Can we ask ourselves, where's the Texas Bureau of Investigation?
Mm.
Louisiana Bureau of Investigation? So far, I found two states, Mississippi and Georgia. In Georgia, we were dealing with a rash of lynchings going on too. There have been lynchings. They have never stopped. Now, when Otis Berg was lynched, his family continued to fight for justice, never got it. They went through the regular channels trying to get justice through the FBI, Civil Rights Department. Department of Justice never received justice. They keep getting the same catchphrase that we get, is under investigation. Under investigation. Well, that term right there is also fool's play, in which we found out in Houston, we cornered the U.S. attorney, and when Trayvon Martin was murdered, I don't know if you remember this. We had a town hall meeting at State Community Center, and we pressured the U.S. attorney to show up, and they told us they can investigate a case up to 50 years before they give us any information. This is why, even on the heels of all of the information that the world knew about the murder of assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., they just released the records maybe about, was it like a year or so ago? So if we think that the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or the Department of Justice is going to be truthful and truly do fact finding and transparency and convict these terrorists, and I'm going to tell you, and we're going to show you who these terrorists are. Yes, they are in fact Ku Klux Klan elements, because I'm going to tell you another case.
Black power, y'all. We on it.
Oh, Philip Carroll in 2017, he was lynched. Check this out. Philip Carroll was lynched in Jackson, Mississippi. In Jackson, Mississippi. He had a white girlfriend. They lived in a duplex, not far from Jackson State. Him and his white girlfriend would get into a knockdown, drag-out brawl. The neighbors, he lived in the duplex, so the neighbors next door heard the brawl going on. The neighbors across the street. The white girl left, after getting into the tussle with Philip Carroll. A couple hours later, in the pouring down rain, he was found hanging from the tree in his backyard. In his backyard. Mm-hmm. After just fighting with the white girl. Guess what the police immediately came in and said? Suicide. Suicide. Now, we were on the ground investigating that case. And I guess it pissed off the white people, because immediately after we left Jackson getting information, they went on a rampage and started spraying nigger all over the neighborhoods, on the elementary school, A black pastor house was vandalized. KKK. A black community center slash it was like a church slash community center across the street from Jackson State was burned to the ground. The local city council people told us that at this point that this was a rogue, what they call a nomad. There was a city council person that told us that there was a nomad clan element operating in that area that they were dealing with. Now, so after this situation with Philip Carroll, there was a gentleman in Jackson. After we came down there, we believe it was a retaliation. His name was Jeremy Jackson. I don't know if y'all remember that case. His head was found on the porch. And some young black kids found his head. And his body was burned miles away.
I'm surprised they didn't label it a suicide.
No, they didn't. And on this one,
right.
They said drug related. But
Right.
the young man was cutting his yard. The family saw him. He was cutting the yard. And all of a sudden, they heard the lawnmower not going anymore. They went outside. He was nowhere to be found. Later, that's when his head was found cut off.
Let me ask you this. Do you think this is part of a larger scheme to send out a message to the black community? And if so, what's that message?
Yes, terrorism. To keep fear on the plantation. And one thing I would tell you guys about Mississippi, that is some of the most beautiful land you will ever see in America. They have the most fertile farmland. See, our ancestors settled in Mississippi. We chose proper farmland. The uncovered history of black people, or that we were already here. We were the indigenous, the Coppertone people, the Americas, the original people that Columbus and them found. And that's not to say that the transatlantic slave trade didn't take place, because it did take place. But see, we've been miseducated in the food systems. Okay? They want to not allow us to have right to our birthright, which is the land. That we were already here. That we, if you go and look at the DOS rolls, which was created, and if we do our history, we will see that the Indian and the Negro were no different. They're the same. Look at a picture of the Indians that look like you, Willie. That look like me. It's the same. It's a wordplay. We're the actual thing is indigenous. The indigenous people of this land have always been black people, melanated people. The indigenous people of the world. But see, when they came here, we was already here. How you gonna enslave somebody in their own house? They know every nook and cranny of it. We were fighting them. So this history of driving us off the land, keeping terror and racial racial inequality, keeping their foot on our neck is part of the American fabric.
Well, let me ask you a question. Why don't more black people just return the favor? Whatever you give me, I'm going to give you 10 times. See, to me, that seemed like the way to get somebody off of you. If you really want, because that's how I always dealt with bullies. Like, I learned that you got to bully a bully. Bullies like easy targets. So when you crying and begging for justice and you whining, and they'll even tell you, stop whining. They'll tell you, stop whining. They'll punch you in the eye and say, how come you complaining about being punched in the eye? Like, why more black people won't just handle them like they handle black people?
I tell you why. Cognitive dissonance. We in denial, and we've been indoctrinated by the food systems and political systems and spiritual systems that have taught us to accept it. And there are people who stand up, such as freedom fighters. We've always had people who have been freedom fighters, and if you just be honest, the majority of black people and people period, but in particular, most people are what I would say. I don't know if I want to use the word domesticated, but folks are in survival mode. That's what I'm going to say. Everybody, people are in a survival mode where they trying to cover tomorrow's meat and potatoes on the table, their roof over their head. If I give you a dime for everybody that tell me they would get involved with the movement, but they got to go pick cotton, go to plantation. In other words, they got to go to work. That's their number one excuse. See, this country was founded. This government, not this country, was founded on a system, a class system of indentured servitude and slavery. Okay, indentured servitude is when you working to pay off a debt. See, we have volunteer indentured servitude. People volunteer to go pay off a debt. Then we have involuntary indentured servitude and slavery, which takes place in the prison system. And also, this country backs up its racism, and black people know it. The Supreme Court, which is the highest court in the land, under the Dred Scott case, which was never overturned, said the black man had no right that the white man would respect. They never overturned that. That's still the case. We know this. We witnessed year after year, month after month, people getting murdered by the police. And it has to take an insurrection to get any type of justice. And like a George Floyd, which George Floyd is one in thousands of cases.
Millions.
But I want to talk about another lynching in Mississippi, which was the last time that I was on your show in 2018. When Philip Carroll was lynched, the young man. No, I'm sorry, Willie Jones Jr. So let's remember this. So we had Otis Bird in 2015. We had Philip Carroll and Jeremy Jackson in 2017. And in 2018, Willie Jones Jr. was lynched. Check this out. He had a baby from a white girl. And the white girl was getting into it. They got into a little argument. She came with the baby and picked him up from his house and took him to her parents' house, her family house, where her mama, daddy, grandma, grandpa, brothers, and cousins were in the house. Don't you know they lynched that boy and beat him up and lynched him and hung him in the front yard of their house? The front yard.
Yeah, and they ruled it a suicide. Right.
Yeah, his mama get down there, and within minutes, it was declared a suicide.
And what did his mama say?
She said it was no suicide. She knew it was no suicide. And the same thing, like with Willie Jones, which is going on with Trey, it was misinformation put out that the family didn't want the case. We got information from someone that claimed they were a family member that the family didn't want all of this information out and all this ruckus out, or nobody to come down and investigate independently. But we didn't believe it. And when we got down there, we had to find our way, to find this family. We found the mom. We went to the community.
I distinctly remember that case because you actually called me from on the ground. You was on the ground when you called me. Yeah.
That's right. And you had, out of all these so-called social media people, you were the only one that had the courage to go live and cover this case. And we were at the mom's house, and the Willie Jones mom, dad, whole family was there. They wanted the truth. When she got her son's body back, he had iron burns on him, all kind of lacerations on him.
How do you respond to officials who are quick to label cases like Trey's a suicide without a thorough investigation?
We respond to them as being the racist, no good dogs that they are, and we let them know directly. We went to the same police department that declared this suicide on a Saturday. Do you know they shut down the police department on a Saturday? Nobody was there. Nobody would come and answer the family. So the family for Willie Jones Jr., we were able to refer them to an attorney. In fact, at the time, Chokwe Lumumba's daughter was finishing law school, but she referred the family to a law firm that took the case on. And a few years ago, they actually settled on this case for $22 million on a civil settlement.
They try to slip one in again, but we quick on the draw today, y'all. Like powerful, power to the people.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Department of No Justice, they won't rule and move out on these cases. And these Klan boys, they know this. That's why they keep doing it.
Yeah, and you know, yeah, the biggest problem is law enforcement or lack thereof, right? These people could not operate the way they operate without the involvement of law enforcement, and let's not forget your city and your local and state officials, including your members of Congress, because they're the ones who are supposed to hold people accountable. If law enforcement misses it, they come in and they make sure that they get things done. They're the ones who pass the laws, and they use the police as their personal goons to go out there and enforce the laws. So none of this could happen without the complicity of law enforcement and Congress, members of Congress. Keep in mind, that's why slavery was able to be implemented in the first place and continue all that time. It was because you had actual sitting members of Congress who owned slaves and who benefited from the slave trade. So people try to, a lot of these people who behave like these uncivilized mutts who are in these groups like the Owen and the Proud Boys and the Nazis and all that, they really ain't tough like they act like they are. They really ain't gangster. They really ain't hard like they say they are. The only time they strike is when they have three things in place. It's one of three things: size, weaponry, or numbers. That's the only time they strike. Size, weaponry, or numbers. And the biggest and the baddest one, law enforcement, backing them up. That's why when you go to the protest, anytime you see them out there, the police is always on the side of whatever hate group is marching. You go out there and you get into something, the police don't, if they get an ups on you, the police don't let it go down. If you get an ups on them, they're going to immediately arrest you. So that's why you still got the Klan. That's why the Klan is still riding, but which is a terrorist group. Everybody knows, even the FBI identified the Klan as a terrorist organization. But the Black Panthers, who was an organization that was there to feed the children, to educate the community, to protect the community, the FBI and local officials went in and destroyed them. So this is the country we're living in, and we're living behind enemy lines, and we're really on our own. And you know, the only way to really get down is to get some, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I totally do. And let me just clear this, because the Black Panther Party still exists. I am the national chair of the new Black Panther Party for self-defense. It's a continuation. And there are, in fact, Black Panther political prisoners that are still fighting and have never stopped fighting. You know, and that's what I want to say. We have to encourage the youth and anybody, all ages, to get involved in the freedom fighting movement. We are not terrorists, we're freedom fighters. You know what I'm saying? We are the antidote for terrorists. We don't get paid by any government official, no 501c3. In fact, we put our own money in. We put in on this, so you can't buy the new Black Panther Party. We are guided by original Panther members. I talk to my OG Panthers on a daily basis.
Let me jump in right quick. this is something people would usually say for later on, but I want to reiterate what you just said, that you guys are self-funded. Like, people see y'all and they think that, you guys are supposed to get it out the mud. Like y'all don't have families. Like, y'all not out here risking y'all lives. Like, I got the utmost respect for activists who are boots on the ground like yourself. So, and I know it costs money for y'all to get on these planes and travel to these different cities and stay in these hotels and be able to feed yourself and also take care of home, and protect yourself. So, how can people that's watching right now contribute to the organization financially?
They can go to our website. We made it very simple. NBPP.org. It's N as in new, B as in black, P as in panther, P as in party.org. NBPP.org. Not only if you go to that website, not only do we need contributions, we need people about to join. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to join directly, you can be a part of the Black Power movement. Because one of the things that the Black Panthers, the new Black Panther Party, have been able to do is continue to be on the ground. And you mentioned earlier with the food programs and the defense programs is to continue to gain the hearts and minds of the people. On Monday, the same day that Trey Reed was lynched, that marked the 55-year anniversary of the shootout that the Panthers had, or were actually when the police were shooting in at the Panthers and the Desire Projects in New Orleans. The people of New Orleans stood in front of the Panther headquarters as human shields to protect the Panthers against the pigs. I've been in the New Black Panther Party since 2002. And everywhere we've been across this country, we have been supported by the people, mostly Black people. You know what I'm saying? It's been incidences when non-Blacks have helped. For instance, when we had the major demonstration in Baton Rouge for Alton Sterling, the pigs attacked us, and we kept standing up and fighting. And 185 of us were arrested in one day. The Lawyers Guild raised $289,000 within hours to bond us out and other people, and also to cover the legal action. See, freedom is not free. And see, even right now, just how your show is subject to be shadow banned, even though you have 1.2 million subscribers, because you have me on your show. You know what I'm saying? We have never ever been terrorists in no shape, form, or fashion. We are freedom fighters. But the Southern Poverty Law Center and ADL have labeled me a hate something, all kind of stuff. I've never anti-Semite. I've never said one thing about the Jews. I go in on white supremacists, wannabe white supremacists, period. I don't distinguish because we are victimized by all of this. And another thing, as far as why they get away with it, is one key factor is we have people that look like us that are the gatekeepers that keep our people distracted, that are taking money and come in and see something going on and try to placate us and get us to go away and switch the subject.
And let's make sure that we state that they're not just Republicans.
No.
They're also Democrats and so-called independents.
Let me say this.
Moderates.
I want everybody to think. When the 4 young girls were burned and exploded in Birmingham church, there was no Republicans. Let's remember, the Black Panther Party, the first Black Panther Party, was started in Lyons County, Alabama, for voting rights, because the Democratic and Republican Party were violating and lynching us when we tried to vote. Another thing is So when the civil rights quote unquote movement was going on, there was another parallel movement going on called the Black Power movement. So you had Malcolm, you had Martin. So Malcolm was a separatist who believed that we should be just like many of our people who said we need to have our own. We can run our own government. We can protect ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We want reparation. We want land. Just leave us alone. Let us be. And in fact, Lincoln honored that. And Sherman Land at a Sherman Proclamation, military proclamation, which we call well, you get the 40 acres and a mule, started honoring that. And black people getting land. And do you know that black people started over 200 cities across America, independent cities, and they were burned down and flooded by guess who? The United States government. See, let's not forget who the slave ships were. They were the U.S. Navy, the British Navy. Let's not forget who were the people that came in and were burning and terrorizing the indigenous people, the military. So it doesn't matter, and it's been the same continuation. Okay, let's just keep it 100. The majority of white America voted for Trump. Okay? And the Democrats, and the Democrats, they ain't been fighting back like they should be. Let's just keep it 100. You got this whole stuff about the Epstein thing. Okay. Well, I could have swore that when Biden was the president, the FBI was under the control of Biden. Why didn't they open up the Epstein files then? Okay. Even when Obama was in office. Let's look how long this Epstein case been going on. So we're not going to get into we're not going to get fooled by Republicans or Democrats, because what I was going to say is in the 60s, there was a choice, and the Democrats and the Republicans were lynching black people and doing voter oppression. So black people in Lyons County, Alabama, started the Black Panther Party. It was a voting rights group that was started by the students, the nonviolent students. At the time, his name was Stokely.
If you want to get your name,
Stokely Carmichael. We getting ready to get into it, y'all. Stay tuned. Don't go nowhere. Black Power's here.
Students were organizing, and they formed a political party called the Black Panther Party. It was a political party for voting rights. And the Deacons of Defense had to stand guard with them with weapons at the polling places to protect the people, to allow the people to vote. Okay? Now, Huey P. Newton was from Monroe, Louisiana, right? So Monroe and Louisiana and Mississippi, they not far from each other. So they had heard about the Black Panther Party. At this time, he's in California, right? And in California, it was racism going on. It was black communities getting attacked. So they took it a next step further. The Black Panther Party for self-defense, which has always had a political ideology. See, the Black Panther Party has a political ideology and has a 10-point platform. And if you look at our 10-point platform, every political people, most of the 10-point platform is what you hear them talking about now. The first thing is, one of the things is we want free health care, preventative and maintenance. That has been part of the Black Panther Party, and not the Blue Black Panther Party. Let me go back. In the 1960s, I'm sorry, I keep skipping this point. The Democrats and the Republicans were oppressing us, and black people started organizing for black separation. We started fighting. We started calling for reparations. We said we will just give us, once again, like we said in the 1860s, just give us our own land. Let us go about our way. We're going to do it on our own. They wasn't satisfied with that. In fact, black men actually got elected into Congress. You know what they did, remember? Do anybody remember? This is when the lynchings first started. See, prior to 1865, lynching was not as flagrant as it was, because you know why? We were considered property under chattel slavery. They might beat us, you know what I'm saying, and torture us to give examples, But to just go out and lynch and hang, that was, was not, they started using other psychological things. But after that, when black people started having their own land, setting up territories, setting their own little small townships, the majority of people that became victims of lynchings were black men who were elected into office and black business owners, black men and black women too.
Yeah, pay attention to what's going on right now. No. It sounded like you was out on something. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's been a continuation. They are constantly trying to instill fear, but also to try to emasculate the black man. You know what I'm saying? So when people say, why y'all don't defend yourselves? We do defend ourselves. Men do defend it. We have those men who go out and have always stood up. But you're going against the military, who are the police. Let's not be mistaken. The police are local military. Okay? They were the slave catchers of times of slavery. Then they were transitioned into what was called the city guard. So they are to protect and serve the white and ruling class property owners. That's why they when you ever hear them use this term, protect and serve, that's an incomplete statement. Protect and serve who? Is what we should be asking.
Mm-hmm.
Still, they don't protect and serve us. So there was a crossroad in our nation, and when and the Democrats, prior to the 1960s, the majority of black people, when they did vote, our history shows that we were Republican because Lincoln was a Republican. We were called the Party of Lincoln. But after King got killed, and there were people saying, we want our own nation, let's separate. Millions and millions of dollars went into getting us to assimilate and get involved under the and participate in the government, and the Democratic Party spearheaded that with Lyndon B. Johnson and all of this. And you know what? Simultaneously with the civil rights movement, they came up with a thing called 501c3, hush money. And Hush Money Act was put in place because the civil rights movement was being organized in the black churches, and they wanted to make sure that this didn't happen again. So they started giving out a lot of monies. So this is why there's a lot of monies. And part of getting these grant monies is you can't organize on political issues. You can't speak out against what's really going on, or we're going to pull your funding. And then let me just cut to the chase and just say, throughout the political system, we outnumbered anyway. It don't matter if it's 20, 80. 80, I'm just gonna just round it up because it's probably more. Say it's 300 representatives in the government, 80 of them are black. 220 gonna always outvote 80. It doesn't matter. We outnumbered. So that process, the whole process is corrupt. And that's why, we have to have other alternatives. We have to be self-determined.
Yeah.
We have to call for our own. I believe the only solution is to have our own nation, reparations, and our own nation. Our people asked for it immediately and demanded it immediately after chattel slavery. But that's a whole other subject. But I'm saying how on the 100-year centennial of Delta State, a young man can be lynched and we're lied to by the police, and they tell us even though this young man had just gotten into a fight with some white boys the night before, that is not foul play, that this is the campus with cameras all over the place. Now, they say that outside the pickleball court. Why did they say that? These other buildings are because they don't want us to think about the other buildings that had cameras. A building called the governor's building, the student housing building.
Now they got that camera footage. They captured the murder. The murder was captured.
Right.
This is a matter of getting that footage. But the murder was absolutely captured.
Right.
Yeah. How is Trey's family, his peers, the community dealing with this? Are they fearful, angry, mobilized, all of the above?
Well, to my knowledge, the family, and if it's not going on now, they should be doing a press conference demanding justice. Is supposed to take place today. The mother is not accepting that this is a suicide.
Well, is the mother going outside of Mississippi? Because we know for a fact ain't nothing shaking in Mississippi. And another thing is this. Uh, I, I, I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but I don't believe she's going to get justice, not with this administration. This administration, what's happening right now in Mississippi, what happened to Trey is on par with the rhetoric that's coming from this administration. So I don't see how she's going to get justice when Mississippi is designed to cover up lynchings. I mean, Mississippi has a long, bloody history of lynchings and covering up lynchings. So that's what they do. They still lynch. They lynch in Mississippi. They lynch, and they immediately call it a suicide every time they lynch. So
They lynch in Texas.
exactly,
They lynch in Georgia. They lynch in Mississippi. You are correct.
they absolutely.
I'm telling you,
I just want to say that
yes, sir.
Mississippi
Yeah, they serial lynch.
Mississippi, it's a different type of, you know, they all day, every day on that type of time.
Yes.
Go ahead. But yeah, Texas and Georgia and Alabama and New York ain't no damn different.
But Mississippi, you're right. It's a serial lynching situation going on in Mississippi. We're not going to deny that. This is part of the culture, part of the terrorism, and one of the reasons why they try to, I've gotten so many ridiculous excuses of why they try to sweep these under the rug. Do you know that we were told that the reason why they've been trying to do a media whiteout on these lynchings is because they're trying to rebrand the image of Mississippi because they want to get a professional athletic team down there?
Hell no, you did not go if they play no ball for that.
Yeah, they want to try to get a professional. I believe it was either football or whatever. They don't have a professional league down there. You know what I'm saying? So that was one lame excuse. So some of these quote unquote elected officials have been hush mouth. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about look like us. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, and it's just unfortunate, I'm just gonna keep it 100. I remind you, I said that Philip Carroll, Otis Bird, Woody Jones Jr., that's 2015, 2017, 2018. We had Obama was president during one of those cycles.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Trump. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, we have gotten no redress from any administration. They've all received information. Every last one of these cases, and every last one, as I mentioned before, not only did the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation come in, so did the FBI, so did the Civil Rights Department, but the Department of Justice. Now they did a tokenism type of legislation, an anti-lynching bill, but what is that going to do when they have not gotten in and really dealt with the matter?
Right.
You know, if we are told and been told about this nomadic clan group and this clan culture, they can do something about it. Let you really go and beat up a white girl, and then next thing you know, she hanging from the tree in your backyard. They're not going to declare no suicide.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to drag your black tail out that house and lynch you. Let you know what I'm saying, any of these things that are taking place. Let a white guy be hung from a tree in Delta State that just got into a fight with some black guys the night before. We wouldn't have to worry about them declaring no suicide. It'll be holy unrest. And so, yeah, black people do need to stop being.
You're
Oh, they slip one in, y'all. This is a good time for everybody to go to the website nbpp.org. join up, put in your applications, put in donations, and that's the easy one. NBPP.org for New Black Panther Party. Yeah, where we at?
Shoot, losing these shackles. You know what I'm saying? That's the only risk. Losing these shackles. You know, our people go to jail like me drinking water on a daily basis behind bull crap. You know what I'm saying? The prisons are full of people, and most of the people, I must let me be frank, are in jail for crimes of poverty. You know what I'm saying? Associated with poverty and drug addiction, drug use, be it addiction to the selling or using it. You know what I'm saying? I used to work at a bail bond company in Harris County. In most of the cases, possession cases, maybe assault. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like we out there doing heinous all kind of acts on a grand scale. The majority of the cases are crimes of poverty. So being a freedom fighter, and that's the terminology that I like to call myself. And I also, you know, always tell the comrades, and I even self declare myself to be a revolutionary. I've evolved past being an activist. See, when I was first coming to my consciousness, you know, I was, you know, and many people go through a quote unquote conscious phase. And they talk about you found everything out, you want to let everybody know, and you know what I'm saying, you found out it's not right, we've been lied to. And then some people stay there and some people move past that. And then they started wanting to get involved and change things and get involved. That's when you become an activist, right? But then after you started, you know, you get to working and you see how corrupt it is from the rooter to the toot. I'm talking about from the city hall to the United Nations. Then that's when the next evolution is to become a revolutionary, a freedom fighter. And we look at the oppression and the systems of oppression here, and we started, you know, since I've been in the New Black Panther Party, I've been all over America. I've been to Africa. I've been to South Africa. Same issues. We contacted by people in Brazil. Same issues. We have a chapter in Johannesburg and in Soweto. Same issues. Only there they have the black man on the reign, Nelson Mandela, but it's politically it's the same thing. Black faces, but they're being ruled and dictated by the colonialists of England. And so the freedom fighters, you know, the spirit of the freedom fighter always exists. Like yourself, you know. I mean, it's all kind of rappers, and I can say I know for a fact that you have been a freedom fighter before I even became a Black Panther. You spoke up when Pac and Biggie were murdered about the foolishness that was going on in the music industry. And I remember you went up to Chicago and y'all organized with the ministers and the other artists, and y'all organized the hip hop summit to squash the East Coast West Coast beef. Now, every rapper doesn't do that, but there are people. That's why I want people to understand. For some reason, people think it's going to be a mass change. It's going to be a whole bunch of people going to change all at once. Throughout the annals of history, it's never been that. It has always been the few freedom fighters who have led the way for liberation. So we need to understand this. Most people feel just the way we feel, brother. They just don't have an outlet. So we're providing the outlet with the New Black Panther Party. You know what I'm saying? Some people try to get involved, and we have a lot of restrictions within our organization. We require study you must participate in political education. You must train. You must serve the people. So sometimes, just like with this case, We're gonna get all these emails. I want to get involved. People want to jump in because they were emotionally drawn to it. But when it comes down to the commitment, the dedication, the resources that we spend, we are not supported as we should be. But we don't let that stop us. You know what I'm saying? We have been attacked internally. You know what I'm saying? After right around the time when we start getting all of the exposure around 2017, 18, dealing with these lynchings in Mississippi, then all of a sudden, the same people who wouldn't go out in the field with us to Mississippi, put on the same uniform, they went and split off and want to start other try to divide from within.
To mislead the people so they can send them this way instead of that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All they want to do is march around with their guns in your own neighborhood. What's that gonna do?
Right.
Black people got guns. Then they start attacking me. They got, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, wow. You know what I'm saying? But hey, they come with the territory. Because it's nothing that we have gone through or going through that our ancestors didn't go through 1,000 times worse.
Yeah.
I mean, we are so, this is how powerful Black people are. We already have pretty much taken over. That's why they keep terrorizing us. You know what I'm saying? We are only 100 years or so out of chattel slavery. And we basically have taken back over almost everything. Taken back over.
What does justice look like for Trey Reed? And what is an unacceptable closure?
An unacceptable closure is some crap that I heard a lady on the news say yesterday, a Black lady. She was like, we would like an apology. We would like for them to just simply call the family. No. The justice for Trey Reed would be for the footage of the murders to be released and not suppressed. For them not to trot out a Black police officer to hold his head down in shame and say, yes, this is a suicide. For him to lift his head up like a man and tell the truth that this is a lynching and not be an old bootlicking coward that we have been seeing. Justice would be for the people to stand up and say no more, and tell the truth. And the people who were responsible for killing Trey Reed are prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Period. It's a hate crime. It's worse than a hate crime. And now there's a cover up, and everybody that's involved with the cover up, from the president of the university to any officer or any official who's part of the conspiracy to cover up a murder. So there's a such thing as law of parties. So it's not only if you're a part of the act, that's one thing. But when you try to cover up the act, you are culpable too. So that's the only way we're gonna have justice. Unfortunately, I'm gonna say these families have gotten millions. A few families getting millions of dollars in settlements. That's not justice. It might be some semblance of what do you call it? Monetary relief for the family, but the trauma is still inflicted on our community. The stigma is still inflicted on our community. This affects us in our DNA across America. I knew what it was when I laid my head down Monday before I even talked to the people about what was really going on. And we will be on the ground. And we do have people on the ground. We're not going to let them get away with this. There will very soon be a call for a demonstration. It's so important to expose.
If Mississippi authorities continue to decry foul play, are you at liberty to share what your next move would be?
We know they're going to decry foul play. Our next move is to do what we can always do, to continue to call them out, fight for justice, recruit more freedom fighters, support the families, expose the contradictions. We did a series of interviews and documentaries and films covering these lynchings. But we need more people involved. I'm not gonna lie. I don't have a cookie cutter solution. We need more people to get out to get out the keyboards, you know what I'm saying, and get on the ground, you know what I'm saying? And even if you on the ground or on your keyboard, support the freedom fighters. Those of us who can get on the ground. Support the families. You know what I'm saying? Let's start exposing. Let's take these other cases that we mentioned and draw this parallel. The movement needs to keep going. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be dictated by what's hot in the media today. There's no statute of limitation on murder. You know what I'm saying? We need more people. Let's re-examine and have more people look into what happened to Otisburg, Philip Carroll, Willie Jones Jr., and the other young man a couple of years ago, Rashawn Carter. I got to talk about this in Mississippi. Taylorville, Mississippi. This was in 2013. I'm sorry, 2023. This young man, it was 2022. It's so much Trump, so much horrific stuff. This young man was working at a company. He got into it with the white boys at the job. They fired him. They made him leave the premises. So he walked into the town, or he wanted to walk in, towards the town. The white boys in the truck from the job, mind you, started harassing him while he was walking. He was so afraid he ran to the police department.
And I was there with her when we went down there for that protest, or to at least put them in check on them and see what's happening.
He told the police, the folks at the police department, well, can I at least use your charger? My phone about to die. They told him no, kicked him out. They wouldn't let him use a charger at the Taylorville Police Department. So he went over, he was able to call his mom, let his mom know what was happening. So she trying to get down there to him. She was staying in Laurel, which was like 2 hours away. By the time she got there, he was missing. Bro, why did these people give this lady her son back in the box, just the bones, within days? And we did our own investigation. Why these people beat this boy and threw him in a pig pen? That's why his bones was skinned. It wasn't nothing but bones after days. Cover up. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation did nothing.
They need to change the name of that shit to Mississippi Bureau of None, and they need to put none in front of investigations.
Yeah, but what are they investigating? You're correct. It needs to be the Mississippi River cover-up. They cover up. In fact, just to show you how aggressively, blatantly racist they are, not only in Jackson, when we after the brothers got lynched and Philip Carroll and Jeremy Jackson was decapitated, and the town we got footage. There's a movie, documentary, What Are You Gonna Do When the World's on Fire, where this filmmaker followed us and covered some of these things. This movie wound up winning across the world, and you can see the footage. And I'll have some of the footage if you want to, have it for later view of the nigger being sprayed on the school, on the preacher's house, the church that was burned. We have documentation of it. Instead of the Mississippi River investigation going to deal with this, you know what they did? They had 50 white boys in suits walk through the neighborhoods, banging on the doors, terrorizing the people. Not trying to investigate, but basically intimidate. This is the Klan element. But we're not afraid of these people. We've been to them. You know what I'm saying? Taylorville, after they did that, you know what? We went to the Taylorville Police Department.
Yes,
guess what? Did. Nobody's home. They shut it down, just like in Forest. They cowards. They catch our brothers, our sisters by themselves. Yeah. When they people come, nobody's home. Why do they always happen to shut down the police departments? You know what I'm saying? Why all of a sudden the police department got to be closed down when the people come to demand justice? Because they cowards. They know they're wrong. We have proof. It's so horrific. No one wants to even, you know, can understand or comprehend the pain it is to maintain your composure when you're looking at a mom who's can't stop trembling from trauma. And we have to stand there with them. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't, I have zero faith in this system. Only faith I have is in the Most High and our people. Because I've witnessed the love of Black people. You know what I'm saying? Even those who say, baby, I like what y'all doing. I can't go out there and help you. But, here's the pie. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened to us in Mississippi. His people said, I mean, they cooked some food so good. I'm like, damn, all of the pain, they still find the love of camaraderie. That's what keeps it going. And we stay in contact with these families. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it's gonna take, to be honest. After the Most High, I don't know. But I know we're gonna keep on the forefront and keep exposure. Because had we not, everything would have been swept under the rug. Had we not, I'm not gonna lie to you. Also, every time I don't want to start no controversy, but it's been certain groups with 5 letters that look like us that be always trying to sweep stuff under the rug and calm stuff down when we down there. Y'all can use your intelligence. A certain group that's been down there. You know what I'm saying? Every time we dealing with stuff that I already know what's going on, they were created to give the illusion that they're the group that represents our people.
NBPP.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to get your show pulled, nothing like that. But I think people can use their common sense. You know what I'm saying? Of what this group is. So let's not be fooled. And let's not accept anything. If you have common sense, how can a man with, you know what I'm saying? And the family, let me be clear, because I will never give you misinformation. They have not been able to get the body yet.
So they don't know if he had broken bones and not, because I heard there was rumors that he had broken legs.
Well, the thing about it is with our witness reports, the coroner has the body. They haven't given the body to the family. The family will do independent autopsy. They do know from his own communication with family members that he had gotten into a fight with the white boys the day before. So I will never tell no lies or claim any easy victories. You know what I'm saying? And as everything comes out, I'm gonna tell you. That's what was reported to them, but they have not been allowed to get the body. But we do, I mean, our people are very intelligent, right? Just like how we got that picture of Otis Bird hanging in the air. It's people with all the info, which we always get. We are interwoven into almost every sector of society. Okay? Don't underestimate Black people. We have info. You know what I'm saying? We know what happened. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation knows what happened, which they call in like they're going to be the heroes. The campus police know what happened. The Cleveland police know what happened. They're trying to cover it up. Do you know the liability on Delta State University right now?
What is?
I'm just saying, they're going to get sued like nothing.
Whatever the truth might be, this says a lot about justice and accountability in America, even in 2025. Societies are supposed to go forward, not backwards. But this raggedy ass country continues to go backwards and backwards and backwards. And look, fam, hold your head, stay diligent, stay prepared. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid, because that's what they count on. They count on you being afraid. there's only so much I can say right here, but y'all know what I'm talking about, man. You're going to have to read between the lines on this. But, man, Krystal, thank you for standing in the gap with the family and the community. Thank you for all of the hard work you've done throughout the years. People ain't even got a clue about, a fraction of the stuff that you're up against. And that's just from the people on the outside. We're not even talking about, how being a freedom fighter affects your daily life and just being a regular person doing regular things with your family. So I know, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm close enough to the action, so I know. So I really do appreciate all that you do. Can you give us that website one more time in case people want to support monetarily or voluntarily?
Yes, that is N as in new, B, P, P. That's N as in new, B as in black, P as in Panther, P as in party. NBPP.org. And I want to say, I must say this. We are in very dangerous times, and our people must start using our due diligence. It's going to get worse. And always remember, the people outnumber the pigs, okay? They don't have enough martial, military for any city when the people stand up. It's 2 million or so people in Houston. You know what I'm saying? They don't got 2 million pigs in military. These tactics that they are using are scare tactics. But when the people stand up, that's when it's going to be the change. It's always our power to the people. It's never been the government, the political officials. Any change that we've gotten from ending slavery to civil rights has come from the people standing up and fighting. Don't give our power to them people. We can change it, and we're going to change it. Black power.
Black power.
Right, Black Edge.
Krystal Muhammad.
Krystal Muhammad. No more.
National chair. Black power, y'all.